If the company you lead HR for earned the top spot for the Best Places to Work award 3 years in a row, you've probably figured out the key to attract and retain top talent, right? My guest on this episode of the Work Positive Podcast has done exactly that, and in the financial services industry. She has a special passion for engagement, which is a vital part of the key. She goes the extra mile to make sure all of her employees enjoy coming to work each day. So let's listen to her success story, Work Positive Nation, and discover what we can do to implement it in our own company culture to transform it to positive.
Welcome to the Work Positive Podcast with your host, executive coach and culture architect, Dr. Joey Fawcett. Discover strategies and tactics that work positive as Dr. Joey talks with industry leaders who create a positive work culture that attracts top talent and reduces team turnover. Discover how you can create a work positive culture that increases productivity and profits. Here's your host, Dr. Joey.
Work Positive Nation, help me welcome my new best friend and soon to be yours, Pam Gass from One Florida Bank. Pam, welcome to the Work Positive Podcast.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joey, for this opportunity. I'm so blessed to be given this opportunity. Thank you.
And you're obviously a blessing to so many people that work for One Florida Bank because not 1 year, not 2 years, but 3 years in a row, you guys have been voted at best places to work. So it's like Work Positive Nation sitting on the edge of their seat saying, how'd they do that? How'd they do that? Teach us how to do that. So it's absolutely amazing to have you on this podcast. How did you do that, Pam?
So it's a lot of hard work. I'm not going to lie. And in being one of the best places to work, we adopt a servant leadership mentality and really view our obligation to our employees as we're there to serve them. And I think that's really important and helpful into how it's gotten us to where we are today.
What does servant leadership look like around One Florida Bank with these employees?
So one of the ways that we operate as in a servant leadership capacity is we listen and we let them guide the conversation. One of the things that the president and myself do is we host monthly breakfasts. We call them roundtables with Rick because our president, his name is Rick. So we call them roundtables with Rick.
That's catchy. I like that. You got a round table and there's Rick. So we call it roundtables with Rick.
Well, our chairman jokes with us because it's actually a huge rectangle. So he's like, I don't know why I call it roundtables because it's a rectangle. Someone didn't pass geometry class. But,
That's hilarious. So roundtables with Rick once a month, and you do what?
So what we do is we rotate a group of people from different departments throughout the organization. We give everybody an opportunity to join. So we try to keep them 10 to 12 people. So it's small enough that it's intimate and they can be open with us about the conversation. We try not to get them in a group with their manager so hopefully that put them more at ease. We give employees the psychological safety, which I think is super important as well, to be open and honest and provide us feedback about what's working, what's not working. Is there a process that's broken? Is there something that's inefficient? Are they having an issue with a client maybe and they didn't feel supported? And how can we make them feel more supported in what they're doing on the daily for us? We get a lot of really great information and a lot of really great opportunities to serve them and help them make their jobs better. Last month, we had a lot of really great feedback that we were able to act on. And at the end of the day, it's a lot of the things that they mention are either going to help us save money or increase the experience for our clients. And so that's also important.
Wow. Now you said something so key because it's obvious that you actively listen, right? You're soliciting their feedback, you're collaborating with them. Then you said you act on it. So talk to us about the power of acting on what you actively listen to.
Well, if you get the feedback and you don't act on it, it's bringing sand to the beach. What's the point?
One Florida bank, sand to the beach. I got it. Okay. All right.
I'm in Florida. I got to use those puns.
That's right.
So it's funny because one of the ways that we measure culture or our workplace culture is through the Best Place to Work survey. Not only do we use the opportunity every month to have those conversations with our employees, but we also use the survey to gauge our culture and what's going on. And it gives people a more anonymous format to be able to provide us that feedback. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we get the anonymous data back, and I love data, but we get that back and we look at it, we examine it, and I put it into a presentation. I provide that feedback to our board of directors, provide it to the senior leadership team. Mm-hmm. And then I've received feedback as silly as, we want a basketball net in the parking lot so we can play basketball at lunch.
Why is that silly? I like that
idea. But what I did do is I went and got one of those play basketball nets that you can get from like a kid, and I put it in the break room, and so it's stuck to the wall in there.
So all the guys are slam dunking on that, right?
Yeah, they've got the little ball going. But some of the feedback we've gotten has been really, really relevant and important. It's most recently we had to weed out a really toxic manager. And so some of the feedback we got was around just how this particular manager was speaking to people, how she was micromanaging them. So they provided anonymous feedback about that. Yeah. And so through that and through attrition and exit interviews, which is another method that you can use to really listen and get an idea of what is really happening in your organization. But through those, we were able to identify this toxic manager and we were able to weed her out of the organization.
Yeah. Whereas you wouldn't have gotten that information otherwise, except people that reported to her would be leaving, right? Because SHRM says 57% of all people leave a work position because of a bad boss.
Bad boss, yeah. And in banking and in most industries, reputation is key, right? And everybody, it's a very small world, and everybody knows everybody. And I believe reputation is your brand is your reputation. And so if people are out there saying bad things because of a bad manager, that overall, it's just a bad look. And so we're not trying to be that bank.
You put your finger on the pulse of something that's really important, and that is, we like to talk in Work Positive Nation about attracting top talent. So we're not just recruiting, we're trying to sell them into coming to work with us. We're attracting top talent, and there's a conversation that goes on between the current culture and then our efforts to invite people to join our teams. So the fact that you are monthly listening, right, and acting on these matters is huge, because that just creates a very dynamic culture in which we're actively listened to, we're heard, here's proof of it. They're measuring it with the Best Places to Work survey monthly. And so we're really continuing to grow and improve here. How does this continuous learning, continuous improvement, sounds almost agile in the banking industry, right? How does that culture get communicated to prospective employees?
So there's a few different ways, but I will say that attracting talent the struggle is real. It's very hard. And I would say that today's job seekers have gotten pretty savvy and maybe a little bit demanding, if you will, following the pandemic. But I'm finding that candidates are more and more interested in working for a company that aligns with their values, their efforts, and is invested in their career growth. And so I think that the best way that we have as anybody anymore is social media. So we really do try to tap into our social medias, LinkedIn, Facebook. We don't really do Instagram, but we use those two mediums to highlight some of the things that we do that hopefully help attract quality talent. I'm finding more and more candidates are actually researching us before they apply. So I hear all the time from candidates, I Googled you guys and I didn't see any negative comments. And I went out to Glassdoor and I went out here and I didn't see anything negative. And then I went and looked at your LinkedIn and I saw that you guys are a best place to work. And I saw that you guys do Habitat for Humanity and you guys donated, you went through United Way to do Thanksgiving gift or goodie bags. And I see you guys giving back to your community. I want to be a part of that. I want my work to mean something to me. So I find more and more that candidates are really interested in not just going, not like it was a few years ago, where you go, you find a job, you work there until you retire, and then you get your pension. And they're trying to find more meaning in the work that they do or the ways that they contribute. We also provide 2 days of paid volunteer time where employees can go and contribute to either a cause that we support, which could be Elevate, it could be Habitat for Humanity, it could be iDignity, or it could be something that is meaningful to them personally. And we even let them take their volunteer days if they want to take their volunteer on their kids' field trips. Wow. So we'll let them use their volunteer days for that. So I think all of that really resonates and matters to employees.
Well, if they're saying they can't find any negative remarks about you on Glassdoor, you guys rock. Because that's like prime +1, right? For finding negative remarks. I know,
that keeps me up at night. I'm always looking. Okay, nothing.
Thank you. That's amazing. Well, and community involvement sounds like it's a part of One Florida Bank's DNA.
It really is. Our chief compliance officer she lives, eats, and breathes the Habitat for Humanity. She serves on the board. She's at every build. She coordinates all of them. The president of our bank serves on the board of iDignity, which I'm not sure if you're familiar, but iDignity is a Central Florida organization that helps homeless people or maybe immigrants or somebody that has lost their identification. Get their identification back. So not having an ID really is something we probably take for granted, but a lot of people that don't have it, maybe foster kids that fostered out, don't have any form of identification. This organization helps people get their identity so they can get a job and they can become productive citizens. So my president that's close to his heart. He serves on that board. Also Give Kids the World, our CFO, is actively involved in that. So we do like to put our money where our mouth is, if you will, and really, really give back to the community. We are a community bank, and so it's important to give back to that community.
Yeah, but I'm getting a sense that it's more than just a charter imperative, that with you guys, it's such a part of your DNA that this generosity is just heart and soul for One Florida Bank. Yeah,
and I think that really speaks to the servant leadership that I mentioned before. It's about giving back, whether it's to your employees, whether it's to the community, but it's about serving others and using your gifts to give back.
Yeah, and money is such an intimate subject for most all of us that if I'm going to trust you with my money, I want to know something about you. And as a customer, there's the value alignment. But I love the way you're talking about the team members come to you having found this out, and that's why they're sitting in front of you. Because that's the kind of stuff that's sticky in relationships with employees. They will stick to One Florida Bank longer that way, right? So what are some things, besides that value alignment, what are some other things that you do to retain top talent? The struggle's real. But it's kind of like,
is real.
It's kind of
so
like
is
dating.
it retention,
Do you date
right?
them hard and then forget about them, or do you, how do you get married and then say, we're married, right?
And I know, I'm married now. I don't have to invest in that relationship anymore. But it's quite the opposite, right? You've been married. You said 40 some odd years. I've been married 27 years, and I marry my husband every day. You got to marry him again every day, and you got to make that commitment, and you got to stay committed. So it really is the same philosophy with your employees. And everybody knows that I am the queen of corny. So
I didn't realize that. All hail the queen. Yeah.
So I like to do things that are fun. I believe that if you're not having fun at work, what's the point, right? Well, so we like to work. We tell our candidates that we like to work hard. We like to play hard too, which is another corny thing. But we're a bank. We don't have ping pong tables. We don't have foosball. But I do like to. You
got a basketball goal in the break room.
We do have a little basketball hoop in the break room. But so I like to do things that bring a little bit of corny and a little bit of fun to the organization, which I think helps keep people. And one of the things is we have our company intranet. And so the company intranet is called The Juice. Our logo is the orange. So it's all kind of themed. And we live in Orange County. So it's all themed around that.
Goodness. Yeah, that's low-hanging fruit. Yeah, I'm vying for the king of corn. So anyway, go ahead.
And so one of the other things, our org chart out on the intranet is called the Family Tree. Our company directory is called the Grove. Our new hires, we send out an email blast to everybody introducing our new hires, our new orange blossoms. Our newest blossom has joined the team. So we do stuff like that helps get that brand sticky, the One Florida Bank and the orange logo, all of that, keep it sticky. But one of the other things is whenever there's an opportunity to theme it or to do something like that, I take full advantage. So we just celebrated our 5th year as a company. And so I wanted to make it special and eventful. So we rented the venue, which is our Orlando Science Center. And the room that they let you use is called Dino Digs. And so you've got these huge dinosaur statues that you're eating amongst and all just cool stuff that you can go in these interactive exhibits. And so I themed everything around that. And well, not I, but me and my team. Yeah. And I got these squishy little dinosaur eggs and I hid them around. And so we did an Easter egg hunt. And it's so fun to watch grown adults run around, turning chairs over, looking for the squishy dinosaur eggs.
Just slightly competitive, are they?
Oh, yeah, we are definitely competitive. Some of the other things that I like to do is a lot of people take spring break off, but then there's some people that stay at work.
Yeah, somebody's got to work at the bank, right?
Someone's got to stay there and keep it running. So for those of us that are there keeping it running, we have a spirit week. And so every day is themed. And this past spirit week, we did a Twisted Tuesday where you just mismatch everything. And I really thought that people would just wear mismatched socks, maybe wear a top and pants. Our branches brought it to a whole new level. Like I couldn't even have conjured this stuff up. But one of our branch managers, he had on this hat with braids and these eyeballs on top, and he's got comic book pants, and he was just so colorful. And so my HR supervisor actually printed out a copy of him and put it on a pen, and I call it my culture pen, because it's a picture of him in this ridiculous outfit, and it just makes me smile. Another day was Barbie Day, Wednesday, because on Wednesdays we wear pink. And so again, I'm thinking people are just going to wear pink. I had one employee that, I don't know if you remember, but back in the 80s, 90s, there was like a Barbie head that would sit on the table and they could comb her hair and put on makeup and she dressed like that. She had on the blonde wig. She created a box that looked like a table that just had I looked at that and I'm like, I didn't even have a prize. There was no prize, but I'm giving it to you. Because I couldn't have conjured that up on my own. No. So we give people the freedom to have fun at work. Yeah. And another client, the clients love it. They come into the branch, they're like, why are you dressed like Barbie? Oh, it's Barbie Day. And they love it. And then another branch actually involved the client. So they're like, whatever the theme was that day, they went out and got little trinkets from the dollar store and they would play a game with the clients and then they'd win a prize. We got pictures of clients with, hey, here's my prize. So if employees are happy and employees are having fun, it resonates and it reflects in your clients. And that's nothing that I asked them to do. I gave them just, here's the theme, and they ran with it. And it was amazing. It was just amazing.
Well, it sounds like the employees of One Florida Bank are all in.
I think so. I like to think so.
So I'm thinking that in a day where you can take a picture of your check and upload it into a mobile app and deposit it, right? I'm thinking One Florida Bank is putting relationships front and center, because I'm thinking I want to come in every day. Let me make a deposit or come in and get a piece of candy or something just to see what's going on in my branch, right? Right, that's got to be an attraction factor for clients.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. We have grown in the course of 5 years. We started by just purchasing a little charter up in Chipley, Florida that had 10 employees, moved to Central Florida. And in probably 4 years, we grew to 160 employees. And we've got
From
from
wow.
10 to 160 in about 4.5 years. And with that came on, we obviously, because we needed those employees to support all the clients that are coming. So I think it's a pretty special story.
That is a very, very special story. So if you've gone from 10 employees to 160 in 4.5 years, Pam Gass, there are bound to have been a few challenges along the way. What are some of the challenges that you're facing at One Florida Bank?
So I think just like any challenge, it's a very loaded question. Because over the course of 5 years, we've had a couple hiccups that kind of came in along the way. But I think probably one of the
that's pretty good.
Probably
if it's just
the
a couple.
The most important, I think, is manager. I think I referenced the toxic manager earlier,
Sure
and identifying that person or those managers that don't necessarily align with our culture has been one of the biggest challenges, because just like we want to retain employees, we want to retain our managers. And we worked with this particular manager for a year, offered additional training, we coached, we provided resources, and the manager just did not want to change. And we eventually had to make the difficult decision, because she'd been with us for a while, to part ways, because she just didn't align with our values anymore. And it was taking its toll on her employees. It was taking a toll on the company. And as much as we hated it, after she was let go, we were like, oh my God, I hate it. Everyone's like, what took so long? So
isn't that always a reaction? What took you so long, right?
What took you so long? And so then people ask you that question, and you have to take a step back as a leader and say, why did it take so long? So it's like, it gave us really pause to really evaluate how we handle those types of situations going forward. But I think another challenge that we've encountered is throughout the course of the 5 years, we've had a pandemic. We went through the PP loans, and I don't know if any of your listeners are familiar with that, but that's like a 3-letter word to us.
It was tough on banks during that time. It really was.
We've had a shift in, 100% in office to work from home to now everybody demands hybrid, and we've had to adapt to that expectation. We've had the rising interest rates, racial tensions, and socioeconomic. It has been a roller coaster over the past 5 years. And I feel like leadership has been the ride attendant, helping employees navigate that roller coaster, getting on and off that ride safely. And I think that what really has helped us get to the other side of it is the fact that we have adopted that servant leadership mentality. We have given people the psychological safety to be their authentic selves at work, and come to us. My president he's like, you care so much, you take things so personally, you have to take a step back from it. And he's not wrong, but I can't disconnect myself like that. If I see somebody as not having a good work experience, I'm going to proactively reach out and see what I can do to affect that.
Pam Gass, you're absolutely amazing. Pam Gass is the HR leader at One Florida Bank, which obviously is in Central Florida, Orlando. I picked up on the ride attendant reference there. That got me. In addition to the fruits, you are amazing. You are known for being passionate about engagement. So when I see someone not having a positive work experience, being proactive in engaging them and helping them. And then those monthly roundtables with Rick, even though the tables are rectangular, that's an amazing thing that you guys do that I think anybody in Work Positive Nation can begin today. So first of all, let me tell you, onefloridabank.com is the website. So I really want to encourage you to go there. Pam, they can reach out to you through that website? Okay. All right.
Yeah. My contact information is out there on the website.
Sweet. And you're on LinkedIn also, right? So we can contact you there too. I am. Because one of the things we love about Work Positive Nation is we do a lot of peer-to-peer learning. And part of the purpose of this podcast is, right, to connect people like you with other people, some of whom may be struggling with some of the challenges like a roundtable, a monthly roundtable. How do you get started with that? How did you start that, Pam? Those kinds of things. So feel free to reach out to Pam via LinkedIn or through onefloridabank.com. If you happen to live in Central Florida, just drop by on Barbie Day and see what that looks like. I'm thinking you did a great job of describing that Barbie head. I didn't have one, but I do remember it, and it would have been in the 70s also. So what's one thing, Pam Gass, one thing that you would say to Work Positive Nation, hey, to create a positive work culture starting today, here's one thing you can do. What's your one thing, Pam Gass?
Pay attention. Water cooler talk can be the best source of information sometimes, but it's like an AA meeting, take what you like and leave the rest, because you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. And I know that I've heard this time and again as well, but if your most vocal employee or employees stop speaking, get concerned and find out what's going on, but just pay attention.
So I'm paying attention to the water cooler talk. What other ways can I pay attention, Pam?
Well, as I mentioned, the roundtables with Rick, but another way is when you have these fun activities, pay attention to who's participating and who's not participating, because perhaps that employee isn't feeling as engaged or as free to express themselves as the rest of the company. So pay attention to those signs and have those. Don't be afraid to have those conversations. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I see you're having a bad day. Let's talk about that.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's one of the keys to the kingdom, Work Positive Nation, is paying attention. And that's how Pam Gass and One Florida Bank have been voted best places to work. Not one, not two, but 3 years in a row. And oh, by the way, those were 3 of their first 5 years. So from startup to 5 years, they've been voted best places to work 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Pam, you're
working
amazing.
on number 4. So.
Yeah, all right, working on number 4. Rock on. That's right. Queen of Corn is in the house. Amazing. That's it. Thank you so much for sharing your phenomenal story. I absolutely love the story. I love the way that you pay attention. You're passionate about engagement, and you said servant leadership about half a dozen times. That's a key to the kingdom right there of best places to work. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your enthusiasm, your passion for people with Work Positive Nation. And we just wish you, Pam Gass, and One Florida Bank all the best.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joey. I really, really appreciate this opportunity and being able to share my story.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Work Positive Podcast. Please share this podcast with your friends who are HR and small business leaders so they can do one thing today to create a positive work culture that increases productivity and profits. I'd like to give you a free Work Positive course just for listening. It's called Something to Talk About, and it's transformed the work conversations of so many people all over the world. Get your free copy when you go to workpositive.today/something to talk about, and you can start transforming your conversations today. Remember, it pays to work positive.